or something? You're going to be in on something.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so what I want you guys to do...
Wait, did you count Logan?
Yeah, I counted Logan. All right, so what I need you guys to do is I need you guys to get with someone that you feel like you're well paired with.
Well!
All right. Now, do you guys know how to play like hot hands? Yeah, you guys know how to play hot hands? You guys understand that? What? One hot hand? Yeah, okay. I mean, it's whatever. All right. You guys know how to play hot hands? Yeah, like that. All right. So what I want you guys to do is I'm gonna change a couple things just to make it fit with what we're doing. Okay. What you guys are gonna do is every time you hit the back of your partner's hand, you get a point. All right. Every time you hit the back of their hand, you get a point. All right. Or 2 points technically, whatever you want to count. All right. Your goal. Listen to this carefully. Your goal is to get as many points as possible. Okay. Very simple. So I'm going to give you guys 20 seconds starting now to play this. Go ahead and go. 2, 4, 6, 8. 6. All right, stop. All right. All right. Ow. Gosh. Ow. All right. All right, here's what I want to know. Losers who lost, sit down.
That's not fair. You went more times. Yeah.
Just wait. All right. So losers who lost, sit down. All right. Now, for those of you who are winners, here's what I'm gonna do. If you got 1 or more points, which you. All right. What about 2 or more points? What about 3 or more points? Yes. 4 or more points. 5 or more points. 8 or more points. 10. So, okay, what about 20? I think we hit about 30, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, can I just assume that the general assumption in the room is how did we get so many points? I mean, we got about 36, 38. And Katie got about 12. Yeah, you guys, okay. So, and I'm glad you guys caught on to it because I was hoping somebody would see it. That's why I put me and Jordan center of attention here. All right, so can I assume that the general question is how did we get so many points? I know you saw what we were doing. Did anybody else see what we were doing?
No.
Jordan, would you like to show them how we played? It really hurts, but it's a good analogy. All right. So thanks. You can go ahead and sit down. Thanks. It helps. All right. So seriously, I want you to, again, this is all about acknowledging things that we naturally do. I want you guys to acknowledge how naturally competitive you are. All right. I didn't say get with someone you're equally matched against. I said get with someone you're well paired with. Insinuating there would be some kind of collaboration or teamwork involved somehow or another, right? I also didn't say to get more points than your partner. I didn't say to get more points than another team around you. I said get as many points as physically possible, all right? And so here's what I want you to think about for a second. The actual game Hot Hands, even though I set a time limit of 20 seconds, the actual game of Hot Hands goes on for literally forever, all right? Like, Hot Hands just goes on until somebody wants to quit, right? So it's what certain people would call an infinite game, all right? Now the issue with this is that you're playing it like as if there are only a finite amount of points to be earned, all right? It's like if you have a plate of food. It's like if you have a plate of food, right? And someone goes to like take something off of it, and you smack their hand, and you're like, back away, because there's only like enough for everyone to go around, right? That's what you're playing it like. You're playing it as if there's only a certain amount of points to be earned, all right? An example of this would be football or baseball or anything like that. Those are games where there's only a certain amount of points you can possibly earn because there is a time limit. But Hot Hands can literally go on for as long as you want to play. You can keep playing until you want to quit, all right? So in retrospect, if you look at that, there's an infinite potential for points to be earned. Everyone can walk out with as many points as they want to get until somebody else quits or until you both collectively quit. The idea with this is that you need to learn that life itself is an infinite game. Life itself isn't a finite game. There are an unlimited amount of points, and we're making it in this world as if there are only a certain amount of points to be earned, and that's why we're so naturally competitive, because we act like there's only so much food on the plate. So we need to make sure those who are good enough to get it can get it, and we keep those who we think aren't good enough, we keep them away. All right? We're starving them out of points. So when you learn that there's only a certain amount of when there's an unlimited amount of points and not a certain amount, you can learn that A, there's no such thing as winning or losing, and B, you'll also learn that there's only ahead and behind. And when you learn that there's only ahead and behind, you can learn that, again, A, you can stop competing against everyone around you, all right? When you learn that every single person can win in some way or another, and of course, let me just make it clear, competitiveness is good. Competitiveness is what drives us as human beings, all right? It's what makes us actually do anything. Otherwise, we'd just be lazy bums, not just sitting around all day, all right? Competitiveness is good. But the problem is that inside our competitiveness, we create other little games of competitiveness within our own groups of people. So let me give you an example. Let's say school sports for an example, all right? Yeah. So school sports, for example, they give so many kids so many great opportunities to be a leader, all right? Captain of the football team, basketball team, soccer. There's so many amazing opportunities for people to be a good leader, right? So many amazing wasted opportunities. Because let me give you an example. Randy becomes captain of the basketball team today, all right? Let's just say this happens. I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen, but I'm just saying, let's just say that this happens today, all right? What's the first thing that Randy is going to feel? He's going to feel obligated to have to be the best person on the team now. A lot of times people throw around the words role model with the word leadership, all right? When you're in a leadership position, a lot of people think the word role model. That's the first thing that comes to your mind, all right? The problem with that is that people don't even view the word role model as right. Yeah, being a leader is a role model thing, all right? You should always be striving to be the good example, so to speak, all right? But Randy, when the coach comes to him, he's like, okay, you're captain of the basketball team now. Randy, next practice, shows up. Man, he's taking like every 3-point he can possibly take. Doesn't care if he misses them. He's just trying to take every 3-point. He's dunking. He's just trying to show off because as captain of the basketball team, you would probably feel obligated to have to show everyone else how a real basketball player plays it. All right? And that's the problem. And forget school sports just forget that for right now. This can be anywhere. This can be in sports teams. This can be in a group project that you do at school. This can be in our own youth groups. There are lots of different youth groups. All right? The problem is that when, let's say Randy's team is competing against Marietta or Belpre or something like that. All right? So you have Randy's team and then you have team 2. All right? Randy has now done the exact opposite of what he should have done. His job was to rally his own team to beat Team 2. But what he's actually done is create another little competitive game within his own team. And his team is going to never make forward progress if they're all stuck on who the best in the team is. So when you're in a group or you're on a team or you're in any kind of social group of people working towards anything, it doesn't matter what goal you're going towards. If you're going to a goal that's all the way over there, and then you create another game within your own game that you're playing, you're going to completely forget about that game, and you're going to focus on the game that's within your own team. So stop making it so competitive when you realize that every single person on your entire team is working towards the same exact goal. All right? It's like us as Christians, you're going to meet people who aren't religious if you ever talk about any of this with them, all right? But I'm giving you this example. They say us as Christians, we don't compete with each other because we know we're all on this planet together. Why not get through it together? All right? And that's the problem, is that people as leaders are acting as if they have to be the best because they're in a leadership position. And if you feel obligated to be the best, if you feel like you have to be the best now, that's the first red flag that should show up in your head. So, again, not critiquing you and saying you're doing that wrong or doing that wrong. Just learn to naturally realize when it happens so that you can tune it out. Because your ego and your competitiveness as a natural human, your ego and your competitiveness will destroy your relationships with people. How does that happen? 99% of the time, it will happen in your conversations or your arguments with people. Okay? So we're going to play another game. And whoever doesn't get a partner can, again, be my partner. Doesn't matter to me. But I'm not gonna make it as clear this time because I already let you guys. I'm gonna do what I want you guys to do. Okay, so you guys can't look at me and then copy what I'm doing this time. So for this next game, go ahead and stand up and get a partner. All right. Hey. All right. Now here's what you're gonna do. When I was in like third or fourth grade, what we would do at recess, we used to play this game. Where essentially like here. Okay, you would stand like this, and we would be standing on like a piece of wood or the log, or you know how like there was the black square around the playground. We would play this game where you would have to stand like this, and you would have to try and hit each other's hands. You take a turn, and you would have to hit it. You gotta hit hard. You'd have to try and you'd have to try and hit each other and move their feet. You'd have to try and move each other's feet. All right. Again, except for I'm gonna give you a little bit of rewarding here. Yes. Jordan, will you be Samuel's partner for this? Randy, you don't have to play this game then. All right. Except for your goals are, I mean, obviously you need to make physical contact with your partner. All right. But B, your goal is to move your partner's feet or get your partner to move your feet. Okay? So go ahead, and I'm going to give you guys about 15 seconds to play this. All right. All right. That's good. All right. We're good now. Okay. So thanks. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. So I mean, but you know, it's just, yeah. So I want to make it clear to you right now. The example I'm about to use has nothing to do with your parents. All right, at all. This is just the best example I could find because you know you guys all have different friends. You have different people you hang out with. Yeah, you can go ahead and sit down. All right, but I want to make it clear this has nothing to do with your parents. And yeah, I need you I need you for a second. I mean, if you're okay with it being my example. There's not many people here today, so I'm not worried about. All right, but I just want to make it clear that this isn't just your parents. This is with your friends. This isn't any argument you would ever get into. And this is what you just played is a very visual way to represent that. All right? So, all right? So, hey Dad, there's a party over at Bob's tonight, and like I was totally wondering, like, is it okay? Like, I know I have tons of chemistry homework. I know I'm failing. I have a test on Monday, but like, can I just go?
No,
But why not?
because you're failing.
But I told you I'll fix it. I'll get the work done.
No.
But come on, like all my friends are over there. I never get to hang out with my friends, and they're all over there.
You don't have friends.
All right, thanks. That's good. Mhm. All right. Thanks. Now, I was hoping you'd catch on because when I was thinking this over in my head, I was like, what if somebody just comes up in here and was like, can I go to the party? And you're just like, sure. and then I would have nowhere to go with it. I'm like, okay. All right. So what happened there? How could that have gone better? All right. Yeah, right. I could have tried to compromise a little bit. I'll get into that in just a second. Thank you for saying that. What about you? I could have not failed in the first place. I could have prevented the situation in the first place. Does anyone else have anything else you noticed?
Parties usually have drugs.
Yeah, he could have been worried that I was at a party with drugs. I know. If only I had more friends. Yeah, I was very negative about it, right? So back to what Randy said. What did you say again? Yeah, I could have tried to listen to what he was saying. And I want you to realize this is how arguments tend to go. I'm very serious. If you ever look at someone argue, all right, this is exactly what it looks like. So what it looked like to some of you that may have been watching this, or any of you that ever just watch two people argue, it looks like they're having a conversation about the party and work. But really what's happening is I'm talking about the party, he's talking about work. That's what causes an argument, all right, rather than a conversation or like a legitimate talk. You know, like have you ever told someone, okay, let's not fight about it, let's just talk about it? That's the difference between an argument and let's just talk about it, all right? That's literally what always makes an argument, is that I'm only worried about my benefits, I'm only worried about the party, he's only worried about work, all right? Because, for example, I mentioned the work and me failing chemistry at the beginning just because that was totally improv on Jordan's part. So, like, I wanted to make it clear, like, so he could at least know somewhat the direction I was trying to go with that conversation. All right? yeah. All right? So I did mention it then, but notice I didn't mention it one time throughout the whole rest of the conversation. I didn't mention, like, trying to get my work done one more time, except for maybe towards the end I think I did. And he didn't mention going to the party, like, nearly once. He just said no, and he was focused on work. He didn't care about my benefits, and I didn't care about what he wanted. So that's what causes an argument. When you can learn to focus on what they want, we're going to reenact that in just a second, so be prepared. We're going to reenact, okay? But let me tell you seriously, if you focus more on what they want, I promise you it's 10 times easier to get what you want out of a conversation or out of an argument or anything. If you can make them feel like you actually seriously care about what they're talking about too, it's 10 times easier to get the argument over with and make sure you get both sides. Because let me make it clear. There's Hannah. Let me make it clear right now. Yeah. Because let me make it clear right now, okay? Those people who you're arguing with, they're not here to hear this right now. So they're still only going to be focused on what they want. So that means, guess what that means? You have to work twice as hard to make them feel like you care about what they're saying. All right? As well as in an argument, seriously be honest with yourself. Because I remember when I learned this was revolutionary, okay? All right? When you're arguing with someone, let's say you're arguing with Becky, all right? And Becky's just causing drama, and she's just making a ruckus, and she's attacking you, okay? And let's say you're talking with Becky, all right? And let's say that Becky says 5 sentences, all right? But the first one was the one that, like, let's say the first sentence that she said really irked you, all right? So as soon as she said that first sentence, you already stopped listening to, seriously, you already stopped listening to her, and you already started thinking in the back of your head how you're going to respond to that. Be honest with yourself, is that what happens? Am I right? You don't have a Becky? I think everyone has a Becky. You just don't know it yet. But that's what happens. If they say one, as soon as they say the first thing of the many things that they might say to you, as soon as they say the first thing that bugs you, you stop listening, and all you're doing is just watching their mouth talk. But you have that little voice in the back of your head that starts talking for you, and you already think you know how you're going to respond to what they said. But here's what I want to give you. All right, now this is totally exaggerated, but let's pretend that Becky, the other 4 sentences that Becky said were, like, let's say she started with the first one, like, hey, I really don't like you do this. But then the next one was, but I actually kind of enjoyed this, and this was really great. And I just want to let you know, I think it was really great overall, though. All right? But all you heard was the first one, which was, I don't like this. So you respond to that whatever great thing that she just said about how much she likes you or likes what you did. You respond with, well, who are you to say that? And then she's left like, what the heck? I just complimented you. And then you turn your back and you're just like, no. And Becky is left thinking that you hate her. But she only gave you really one bad thing. Now, again, is that totally exaggerated? Yes. All right. Normally, when they say one bad thing, it turns into many. All right. But I just want to make it clear that that's what you start doing. When someone says one bad thing, the whole paragraph that they're rambling on about, you're not even listening to it. You start thinking about how you're going to respond to it. So, again, not critiquing, but just learn to acknowledge that you can't listen to other people if you're only listening to yourself. All right? Just like I said with that last example with me and Jordan, you can't listen to other people if you're listening to yourself, because if I'm only worried about my benefits and he's only worried about his benefits, you're only trying to get your points across, and you're never going to care about what you are both trying to say. Does that make sense? So if you wouldn't mind helping me reiterate this. Now you guys remember the game that you played, all right, where you're hitting each other and whatnot. Here's what we're going to do. Here, over here, because I don't know if we're in camera view or not. All right? So, hey, Dad, I was wondering, like, there's this party over at Bob's tonight, and, like I know I have lots of chemistry homework, and I have a test on Monday, and but you got to think, today's only Friday. That gives me like all day today to finish it, and the party on Saturday is only from 6 to 9, so that gives me most of the day Saturday, and it gives me almost all of Sunday. So like I was just wondering if it would be okay if I go to the party.
Will you work hard on your homework and study?
Yeah, like 100%. Like I said, I have plenty of time to do that.
Is there a main reason why you're failing?
Well, like I said, I hadn't been really doing my work, but like I said, I think I can catch up if I just like if I take all of this weekend.
Do you promise me?
Yeah, I swear I'll do it. I promise. Yeah.
All right. I'll be very disappointed if you don't.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
All right, now seriously, like I know this is totally exaggerated and a little silly. All right. Yeah. All right. I think it's okay. Yeah, I know, right? All right. But seriously, your goal wasn't to move your partner's feet. Your goal was to get them to move their feet. And again, I want you to realize, notice how many times I had to move before he finally understood I was trying to get him to move. All right, I think I had to move my feet like 2 or 3 times before I could tell you really understood that I was trying to get you to move your feet, right? So this is another point, all right? Whole other point here, all right? Your goal wasn't to move your partner's feet. It was to get them to move their feet, all right? As a leader, you're not pushing people in a direction. You're just helping them in that direction. Does that make sense? You're not trying to push people to go to the right direction. You might think it's the right direction, all right? That's perfectly fine. But it's like with church. You don't just force them to go to church. You invite them. You help them in. You greet them. You make it clear the path they should take. You don't push them onto the path they should take. You make it clear to the path they should take. And then it's out of your hands, all right? You need to be the first person to step, all right? If you don't move first, they never will. If you aren't the person that's moving first, they never will. You know, it's like a herd of cattle, right? The first one to move, everyone follows it, all right? So don't let someone move in the wrong direction before you move in the right direction. Be the first to move in everything. You can't be indecisive about it. You can't be a little bit questionable about it. You can't take too long, all right? Because every day you have maybe friends that maybe they aren't their best friends, maybe they aren't your closest friends, right? But you have friends maybe that like you wish, maybe for example you wish would come to church. Then take the step first, because I guarantee you there is somebody else out there who is about to take a step in the wrong direction, and they're about to follow that person instead of you. So if you don't step first, they're gonna go with the other person that stepped first, and they're probably not going in the right direction. Does that make sense? Here, I got something else. I wasn't going to do this if I didn't have time, but here's what I want you guys to do. Go ahead and stand up again and find a partner. And this time, you know, you can listen to my wording. Yeah, you don't have to. You two can partner up instead of Jordan. All right. So you guys know how to you guys know lightsaber duels, right? All right. Except for this time, again, it's a little bit different. You're gonna get a point every time you poke your partner. Okay? Yeah, you're playing lightsaber duels, and you're getting a point every time you poke your partner. You know, like for example, here, like Samuel, like You're doing lightsaber duels, all right? Oh, and hey, you can't move your front foot, but you can move your back foot. Let's change that rule, okay? And then you're going to stab your partner, okay? Yeah. All right? And you get a point every time you poke your partner. So I'm going to give you guys 20 seconds. Go. All right. Stop. 61 points. Yeah, how? Yeah, no, Hannah wasn't here for the whole lesson. All right. So I could see that most of you understood the idea here is that you're repeatedly poking your partner. Okay, you all got that. All right, and I'm glad you got that because congratulations, you can now successfully reconceptualize a conflict. All right, understand that there's a limited amount of points, and that there's no such thing as a winner and a loser. So I'm glad that you guys. Hopefully, this made it clear with all these analogies, all these silly games. It was a little bit of fun, but at the same time, I hope you guys can understand this now. All right? Because there's so many things that go into it that cause us to be competitive. And like I said, seriously, you're so competitive as a natural person. All right? Your brain is so competitive. And I truly, honestly think this is probably the number one factor that drives us as human beings apart is our competitiveness. We all want to be the best. We all want to have the most points. We all want to have the most everything. All right? Think about it. All right? How many of you have ever been picked on or made fun of? You've had someone say something really mean to you? Like, I mean, actually to your face. All right? Or behind your back. All right? Why did they do that? And you guys can sit down if you want to. Why did they say that? Exactly. They did it for points. They did it for points. Think about it. Someone doesn't just hurt your feelings just to hurt your feelings, all right? They don't just hurt you because they get up in the morning. You're like, you know what? I want to hurt someone's feelings today. I think I really want to hurt someone's feelings today. No. You don't just get up and be like, you know, I really want to hurt someone's feelings. Nobody hurts you just to hurt you. They hurt you because they want more points than you. Think about it. Someone makes fun of you in the middle of class and everybody laughs except for you. Again, they're doing it for friend points. They're doing it for social points. The person that just made fun of you probably looks a lot cooler in everyone else's eyes than before. Right? So understand when someone says something to you, when someone ridicules you or anything like that, they're doing it for points. Because a lot of times, I'm being serious, a lot of times we've probably wondered why. And this has made it very helpful for me. When you can understand why someone does something like that, it makes it a lot easier to take it and just deal with it because it's not as big of a deal anymore. All right? Because I'm telling you, as a leader, or if you're again, let me make it clear, you're not a leader all the time, all right? But whenever you are in a leadership position, even if it's only for one day out of like a whole month, you just happen to be in a position where you're in charge of something, people are going to make fun of the good things that you do. So learn why they're doing it because it's a lot easier to take it and not fight back, okay? As well as something really quickly before we end, someone asked me last week at the end of it, how do you help like build a connection or a relationship with someone that you feel like you're not very good, someone that you don't feel like you know very well? Like let's say they're your friend, but you don't really talk that much or hang out that much. How do you build a relationship or a connection with that person? All right. And the first two things, I just want to say this as an ending point because it was a question that I got asked last week. Towards at the end of it, is that first of all, so it's time and energy. All right. And like I said, I also feel like this does pertain to you as a leader. You need to feel like you at least have a connection with everyone that's in your group of people. Okay, it's time and energy. Those are the basic things that everyone knows. All right, you put in your time, you hang out with them, you do this and that, and energy goes along with that. It's tiring. All right, when you hang out with your friends and you just get tired afterward, that's energy. It's very simple to know those two things. It's time and energy. But the third one is the thing that everyone forgets about, and that's a sacrifice. No, Logan, not like Gulliver, and then rip out their heart and then you take a bite of it. No, not that kind of sacrifice. All right. Because you sacrificed me at my first retreat. Yeah. It's not like that. But as a leader, if you're ever in charge of something, as a leader, 99% of what you do, or more like 90% of what you do, is going to be behind the scenes action. All right. No one's gonna see what you did or how you did it or care that you did it. You're not gonna get any acknowledgement for it or any praise for it. It's things that nobody else sees, right? When you're in charge of something and maybe you come in like an hour early to set something up, all right? Nobody else sees that because you're there an hour early. Does that make sense? And it might feel a lot of times like when you're trying to build a relationship and a connection with someone and you do those kind of sacrifice type things where you're coming in an hour early and working real hard, it might feel like that's a waste of time. But what you need to do is you need to take advantage of what I like to call the visible sacrifices. And this is like the small 10% of those that are actually literally things that people will see you do. All right? For example, if someone says, hey, I need help with this, and there's you and your friend right next to you, the thing you don't want to do is look at them and go, take this one. No, because then when they get picked and then they have to do work, guess what they're going to remember when they think about you? They're going to remember that you sacrificed them. What a jerk. Instead, if you know that they're about to get picked, volunteer for it. This is just a small example because guess what they're going to remember when they think about you next time? They're going to remember, oh, hey, I didn't have to do that because he did that for me, or she did that for me, or they did that for me. Yes. I didn't hear what you said, but okay. Oh, yeah. So, so again, just a small recap. Again, I don't have some grand way to end these. I think these are, at the same time, very simple things, all right? But again, understand it's not about the points. There's no such thing as winning and losing. There's only ahead and behind, and that's how it is in life, all right? For example, when you die, people might remember you. That's how you live on forever, all right? There's only ahead and behind, all right? It's the game of life. Learn that there's not a winner and a loser. Because when you learn that there's only ahead and behind, you can learn that you always have the opportunity to get ahead, and you always have the opportunity to drop behind. Think about it. When people always say there's someone that's going to be better than you, that's just like this. There's always someone that's going to be better than you. So stop getting hung up on how competitive and how much you need to beat everyone, because all that's going to do is drive you apart from everyone. It's okay to be competitive. It's okay to want to hit your next goal, to be better than you were before, but learn that you're always competing against yourself in everything. I mean, literally everything. Because if you make it about being better than this person or that person rather than just being better than you were before, it's going to drive you away from that person or that person. Does that make sense? And learn that your competitiveness is going to drive you against people. That's why you argue with people. So learn to take in other people's thought processes and their emotions and what they care about when you're arguing with them. If you can focus on what they care about, it's gonna be 10 times easier to get whatever you wanted out of that conversation. All right. And lastly, be the first to move in everything. Be the first to move in everything. Don't be indecisive about it. Don't think about it, because if you don't move first, no one will ever follow you in anything. So with that, that's all I got for this week. I'll wrap it up completely next week, and I think that's just about it. Oh yeah, dang it, Adam, I didn't.